if that coach ain't coaching correctly, well, maybe it's time for a little bit of change.
You can stop asking that question, okay? I'm going to be calling the defenses, okay? So we're clear. So you don't have to ask that again.
If our calculations are correct, anywhere from a quarter to 1/3 of the NFL teams will enter 2024 with a brand new head coach. So today, here are 8 teams that desperately need to make a coaching change and who they should hire. Los Angeles Chargers, Bill Belichick. To us, it remains amazing that Brandon Staley has lasted as long as he has in Los Angeles. Staley was hired as the Chargers' new head coach in 2021 after serving as the defensive coordinator for Sean McVay and the LA Rams, who boasted the league's top defense under his watch in 2020. And yet, the Chargers' defense has progressively gotten worse and worse under Staley. His in-game management and overly aggressive play calling has been absolutely awful, and it's especially inexcusable for a so-called defensive genius with his background.
You guys act like we've never played good defense. That's not the truth. That's not the truth. You act like we haven't made any improvements. There were a lot of other things that caused us to lose today. It certainly wasn't our defense.
The Chargers are way too talented to disappoint every single year. If and when the New England Patriots part ways with Bill Belichick, Bolts owner Dean Spanos should back up the Brinks truck in front of his house and offer him whatever cash sum he wants. Look, Belichick is the greatest head coach in NFL history. His in-game management and defensive genius have gone unmatched. Yeah, sure, Tom Brady's long gone, but the Pats did not win 6 Super Bowls by fluke under Belichick either. Belichick would inherit a defense with superstars Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack, and Derwin James Jr., along with young studs Tuli Tuipolatu and Asante Samuel Jr. Seeing what he's done on defense with a bunch of no-names in New England, who knows how scary good the Bolts D would be under Belichick. Bill would have a true franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. Rashawn Slater and Corey Linsley headline a rock-solid O-line, too. Belichick could come to LA and focus strictly on the defensive side of the ball. GM Tom Telesco knows how to assemble a roster, and the Herbert-led offense wouldn't exactly require much guidance from Belichick. The Chargers gonna Charger or classic Chargers moment would end right there. Chicago Bears, Jim Harbaugh. It's time for the Bears to go big game hunting. Matt Eberflus was hired as Chicago's new head coach in 2022 following a stellar run as the Indianapolis Colts defensive coordinator. But the Bears' D has been an absolute mess under Eberflus, and he clearly lacks the experience to build a foundation on offense. Chicago will be in a good spot to get one of the 2 golden geese in the 2024 NFL Draft, either USC's Caleb Williams or North Carolina's Drake May, so they can move on from Justin Fields and pair the new quarterback with a different head coach. That new head coach should be none other than Michigan Wolverines head man Jim Harbaugh.
The Bears should absolutely beg Jim Harbaugh to come be their coach next year. They would be 1,000 times better immediately.
There is speculation that Harbaugh could be out at Michigan following in-person recruiting violations, as well as the ongoing investigations into the sign-stealing scandal, as those violations led to Harbaugh getting suspended twice here in the 2023 season. But no doubt, Harbaugh has left his mark in Michigan. It just feels like it's now time for him to try something else and come back to the NFL. He was a quarterback for the Bears from 1987 to 93 and should be enticed by the idea of fixing the NFL team that turned him into a pro in the first place. Everyone remembers how quickly Harbaugh turned around the San Francisco 49ers following his arrival in 2011. Imagine what he could do on a Chicago team with a can't-miss young phenom QB and a plethora of cap space and draft picks. Harbaugh would cost the Bears a pretty penny, but it'd be well worth it. New England Patriots, Jared Mayo. With Belichick likely on his way out of New England, there is little doubt who should and will succeed him. Former Patriots Pro Bowl linebacker Jared Mayo, the team's inside linebackers coach since 2019, has long been rumored to be the succession plan, as he should be. Belichick built a special winning culture in New England, sure, but his grumpy demeanor, old-school ways of coaching and communicating obviously aren't working for the players in the post-Tom Brady era. Mayo has spent more than a decade, both as a player and a coach, learning the Patriot way under Belichick. He's well-respected and greatly admired by his players, and that is exactly what New England needs. The polar opposite of Belichick. Young, energetic, and passionate defensive-minded coaches like Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans rebuilt the culture and restored team morale with their respective teams. I'm sure Mayo can easily do the same. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Frank Smith. The most popular trend for NFL head coaching hires these days? Well, bring in a young, offensive-minded head coach. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, Mike McDaniel, Nick Sirianni, Kevin Stefanski, Zach Taylor, Kevin O'Connell, Matt LaFleur. Prime examples of how this trend plan works perfectly. The Buccaneers named then DC Todd Bowles the new head coach following Bruce Arians' shocking retirement in 2022. And as great as a dude as Bowles is, it's obviously he is an excellent defensive coordinator, but just not cut out for a head coaching position. It's evident that the Buccaneers need to change coaches, and this time they gotta go with an offense-first guy. Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator Frank Smith, in his second season on the job, is just the guy the rebuilding Bucs need. Smith and McDaniel were able to fully unlock Tua Tagovailoa and turn him into a superstar. Not sure if the Bucs want to keep Baker Mayfield or if they'll want to start over in the offseason. Either way, the Tampa head coach needs to be one of the young, hotshot offensive geniuses. Smith could help Mayfield take his game to another level or simply help develop the Bucs' next franchise QB. Carolina Panthers, Kellen Moore. I liked the Carolina Panthers' idea of pairing Frank Reich with Bryce Young. The former won a Super Bowl 52 championship ring with backup QB Nick Foles and worked with the likes of Peyton Manning, Phillip Rivers, and Andrew Luck. His tenure with the Indianapolis Colts ended on a sour note, sure, but Reich's previous experience sort of speaks for itself. Of course, he was deserving of another head coaching opportunity, but Reich has not been able to make it work with Young whatsoever. The number one pick of 2023 has been overwhelmed by the increased difficulty of the NFL. Young is struggling to read defenses, and he has not learned to take the easy throws that the defenses are willing to give up. He is getting way too cute and trying too much with the low percentage plays, and that largely falls on Reich. So before Young's confidence is destroyed any further, the Panthers need to plan for a coaching change. Move on from Reich and hire Chargers offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, who is more than ready for his first head gig. Moore turned out a top 5 offense as the Dallas Cowboys OC and has continued to work his magic with Herbert and the Bolts. We know he can work with young QBs, and the Panthers should not hesitate to hire Moore before his stock and demand increase any further. Carolina knows they need to upgrade the weaponry and O-line around Young, but the very first task is to bring in a younger head coach to work with Young, and Moore is the perfect candidate to fix him. Atlanta Falcons, Ben Johnson. Arthur Smith was once praised for squeezing 7 win seasons out of a mediocre Falcons roster in both 2021 and 2022. But there is no excuse for the disappointment here in 2023. Not in football's worst division, and not with an insane set of offensive weapons that any other head coach would dream of. You use a top 10 pick on Bijan, you better make him the focal point of your offense, not your number 2 RB. So, yes, a head coaching change is needed in Atlanta. Fortunately, the perfect solution exists. Meet Ben Johnson. The 37-year-old Johnson has been with the Detroit Lions since 2019. In 2022, he was promoted from passing game coordinator to offensive coordinator, and the Lions have reaped the rewards ever since. Johnson and Dan Campbell turned Jared Goff from a so-called throw-in from the Matthew Stafford trade back into a Pro Bowler and franchise QB. Johnson has also helped turn Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta into studs. With Detroit bolstering a borderline top 5 offense for the second straight year under Johnson's guidance, there is no doubt that he's playing his way into a head coaching gig. Sorry, Goff and Mr. Campbell. Johnson built the Lions offense into an absolute machine. Now imagine what he could do with 2 elite talents in Robinson and Pitts, plus Tyler Algier and rising star Drake London. Just imagine if Atlanta made an upgrade at QB and paired him with Johnson. Smith just hasn't cut it in Atlanta, but Johnson most certainly would. New Orleans Saints, Brian Callahan. Like Todd Bowles, Dennis Allen has built a reputation as one of the game's top defensive minds. But as a head coach, no, it's just been a little too much for him. The Saints' defense remains a machine under Allen, but that's getting canceled out by a mediocre offense. Allen obviously is not cut out to be the lead guy. Along with Allen, longtime OC Pete Carmichael really needs to go. And the solution resides up north in Cincinnati. Of course, we're talking about Bengals offensive coordinator Brian Callahan. The 39-year-old, along with Zach Taylor, has turned this long-time losing franchise into a juggernaut thanks to their success with the Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase-led offense. If the Saints do the right thing and go with a guy with an offensive background, they'll have plenty of options. But Callahan just makes the most sense for a New Orleans team that greatly misses Sean Payton's brilliant mind. Washington Commanders, Lou Anarumo. The Commanders probably kept Ron Rivera a year way too long, but hey, there's no changing the past. What Josh Harris and the new Washington ownership can do, however, is make the correct coaching change. The problem is that the Commanders aren't going anywhere because their defense has become a mess under Rivera and Jack Del Rio. So, while most teams are going with a young, offensive-minded coach these days, the Commanders should go in the defensive background direction. Bengals defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo, who should be a head coach by now, is the perfect candidate for Washington. Anarumo joined Taylor's staff as the Bengals DC in 2019. To date, he is the only DC that has consistently given Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs problems. He doesn't have the all-world talent to work with in Cincy, but it's Anarumo's crafty schemes that have made this Bengals D so dangerous. Hence the Super Bowl 56 appearance and consecutive AFC Championship berths. Let Anarumo hire his own OC to run the offense, and the results will play out wonderfully in DC. But which other NFL team needs to hire a new head coach? And who do you think they should hire? Let us know in the comment section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps out a ton. And hey, we appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.